Welcome to Guns 101, our video welcome message for new gun owners, brought to you by the Self-Defense Radio Network. I'm Rob Morse from Self-Defense Gun Stories. My partners are Amanda Suffolcool from Eye on the Target Radio, and the guy behind the curtain. You don't get to see him, but every now and again. That's Paul Lathrop. He's from the Polite Society podcast. Tonight we have Tom and Diane Walls from the Firearms Academy of Seattle with us. Okay. You guys have trained a lot of students. Millions of people brought this cardboard or plastic box home. It's got a gun in it. Tell me about the mission of that gun.
A mission is very individual. The person that just got the gun, what did they buy it for? What was their purpose in buying it? What do they want to use that new tool for? Do they want to use it for home defense? Do they want to carry it? Do they want to go out and do competitive shooting? Do they want to just have it because it's cool? There has to be, you need to tailor your training to what you intend to use the gun for. That's what's important. Like you wouldn't use a Corvette to go out to the lumber yard and buy lumber and haul it. Or you wouldn't use a chainsaw to cut hair. You need to have the right tool for what your purpose for that tool would be.
The hard thing is when you're first starting is how are you supposed to know this? We're not born with this knowledge. I remember the first self-defense gun we got, and it wasn't a bad tool, but it wasn't the best tool. And sometimes that involves finding that out in a class rather than on the street, and maybe trading that in for something that's a little better. So really, what do you want to do with this gun? If it's a talisman, is it a magic gun? And I'm grabbing a dummy gun. This is a plastic inert chunk of gun right here. Well, it's not gun, it's plastic. Is it like, my first wish is to be safe forever and ever. My second wish is to have hair. Is that what you want? Understand that's what you want. Is it, for sport, you want to use it for defense? So, assuming that you've chosen it for defense, which most people have recently, you could break it down into kind of a branching scenario into two basic groups. You want it to have just around the house, or do you actually intend to put it in a holster and carry it? Around the house, you've got some better options as far as size of the gun. The smaller the gun, the more felt recoil you have. Okay, something to consider. I'm going to take a bullet out of a magazine, a cartridge more properly. Okay, this little guy right here contains the energy. If I put this much energy in a big 5 gazillion ton Civil War cast iron cannon, you can imagine that doesn't move the cannon much. There's not much recoil. I put it in a little itty bitty teeny weeny gun. That same amount of energy is going to move that gun around. And we see this. People want to buy a comfortable gun to shoot. They get a bitty one, think it's not much. The same amount of energy, it's a difficult gun to shoot. They're not happy. It doesn't serve their mission. They don't carry it. Around the house, concealment's not a problem. So, bigger gun, easier to
Tom
have.
and Diane, how does somebody find that out? Or the only way is to shoot it before they buy it?
Wouldn't it be nice if we could try before we buy? Sometimes you can.
Actually, the best thing to do, in my opinion, is to, if you're thinking about buying a gun, ask around and say, look, I want to buy a gun, and I know you have guns, my friend. What would you recommend? And then, I'm thinking of having this for protecting the house and at night.
Hey, buddy, will you take me shooting?
Yeah, get a chance to try some guns. Some ranges will offer a selection type portion where you can try several different kinds of guns. We do this at FAS, just so you know what they feel like. Look for, if you're interested in training, but you're not sure what gun to buy, a lot of ranges will lend you a gun for a class.
So if nothing else, you know what you don't want. I would recommend not starting out with a small gun, something mid-size. They call it compact gun. Around the house, you don't have to worry about concealing it. You can get a larger one. You can even go for a long gun, a shotgun, or a rifle, which is more adjustable if you have an adjustable stock. You're going to have multiple users if you've got a gun in the house, husband, wife, kids, whatever. So it needs to be more adaptable. Everybody needs to be able to use it. You need to think about the ballistics. You know, if you're going to shoot down the hallway, what's on the other side of that wall in the hallway? Is there another house? Is there an apartment? Those sorts of things. If you're carrying on person, though, that's a whole nother issue. Diane?
Right. One of my pet peeves is when someone comes in for the first time and they've got this little tiny gun, and this happens sadly to women more often than men, but it does happen to men as well. Oh, isn't it cute? It's so little.
Here, little lady, you'll love this little gun. It'll fit just fine in your purse. You'll never know it's there.
Right. Yeah, it's light, it's easy to carry, but it's very difficult to learn the basics on.
It's an abomination for a new shooter. It really is.
Like an airweight revolver with a 20-pound trigger. It really fries my cookies when I see that happen to someone, because that is a real problem. But
they think a smaller gun, that's not as dangerous because it's not as big and scary to me.
Same amount of energy.
It may well be that that's one of the reasons why people buy the tiny gun, and there's so many of them out there now. I mean, they're kind of a trendy thing.
So you get a brand new shooter, never shot a gun. Their first experience is bad. You know, as instructors, we haven't served them, and they're less likely to train and actually learn how to use the gun. It's an epiphany when an instructor can say, let's put this down and let's try this other one from my collection here.
Right.
Gun size is critical.
I think that there's a lot of people, though, who think that a lighter gun kicks less, when it's actually the inverse of that. It's really hard to explain that to people, but I really love your the amount of energy explanation. I think that's I get something out of every one of these videos, and that's my takeaway from this one. So
yeah, it's not easy to control. We recommend that if you're going to carry a gun, you get the largest gun that you can conceal on your body, and train with that, so that it's easier for you to learn the basics.
Training is good. Training is critical. You've got to learn how to carry the gun, deploy the gun, use the gun. The legal aftermath is something that is a week-long course to do it right. Working out of the holster, it's not just a bucket. There's all these things you need hands-on stuff with. We can't really do that well in the video.
So what do they do if they bought the wrong gun? What options do they have if they've bought the wrong gun?
You get emotionally invested in this gun. You make a big decision if it's something for you and you like this gun and this represents that emotional decision. Honestly, go to the gun store, trade it in. You might take a little financial loss, but it's better to have something that's useful rather than money tied up in something you won't use.
Or if you have the money, there's nothing that says you can't have more than one gun.
Gotcha.
Isn't that amazing?
I'm not sure that, you know, these folks have just stepped into the world of having one gun. So to be told, oh well, guess what? You're going to find out that they're like M&Ms, and you're going to want another one.
It comes
puppies.
It's literally one day at a time. You know, you'll know you're ready. You can't force it. But there's so much of the accoutrements, the gear, the legal permits. Do you need a permit in your state? Does your state reciprocate? Does our neighboring state allow your permit to be used there? There's so much to get into. These videos are a service you guys are doing. If we can't teach it all, we can at least make folks aware that it's out there.
Yeah, that the questions exist. The education is there. They can go look for it, and they at least know. Because there's so many times when you say, I don't even know enough to ask a question. And so at least this starts to whet that appetite of
start that.
Right.
Yeah. So
and you're going to find that gun people are really friendly.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
If you ask questions, they're more than happy to tell you everything that you want to know. I've never met one that was like, yeah, get out of my face. Everybody's like, oh, yes, that's a very good question.
The real gun culture, some of the friendliest and most honest people I've met.
And the thing is that gun people, unlike the guy with the Corvette that you were talking about, or a guy with a motorcycle, is if you say, could I try that? They're like, here, sure. Where the motorcycle guy's like, get away from my bike.
Nobody rides my Harley.
Yeah.
Exactly. So folks, we're with Tom and Diane Walls from the Firearms Academy of Seattle, firearmsacademy.com. Check it out. They've done several different videos in this Gun 101 series, and you're going to want to see them all. You really are.
Thanks, Amanda.